Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle, and today we are answering a very important question. Is Furious legendary prefix for your weapons always the best, or not? The quick answer would be no, it's not always the best, but almost always. So almost. There are exceptions, but I want to give you more than just this quick answer. I will tell you exactly how it works, why it performs so well when it does, and why sometimes it doesn't perform at all. So for this showcase, I prepare a series of weapons. We have Gatling gun, we do have a plasma caster, we do have a cremator, and those have equivalents with aristocrats or instigating, or one different weapon as it's performing in very special manner. So as well, Tesla cannon that will represent explosive weapons with Furious effect. So the old Furious, if you are familiar with this effect from the past, was completely different. It's not the Furious you know. What it used to be, it was 5% bonus damage up to 45% max out. It's no longer that. It's still 5%, but that's a new effect for your Onslaught stack. So on top of your other Onslaught effects that you have from perk cards, if you do have Furious on the weapon, it's adding a new effect and increasing number of maximum stacks, works with regular and reversed Onslaught. So for this example, we do have all the Onslaught perks equipped, all of them, as they need it. If you run Onslaught, generally you should run them all. The only one that's not always there, so that's a Master, because this one only if you want to reverse the Onslaught. If you don't want to reverse it, you don't run this card, but every other card you do. For example, if I have this card that increases 5% damage to close enemies per Onslaught stack, how does it work in my case scenario? With me having all the Onslaught cards possible and Furious on the weapon, you can see in bottom right, at this moment, stacks are 21 because I'm holding Aristocrat's weapon. If I switch it to Furious, you can see bottom right corner, the stacks are going up and they will achieve 30 thanks to the fact that I'm holding Furious. Therefore, this little card that gives 5% to close enemies will max out at 150%. The same rule applies with effect from the Furious. So if I have 30 stacks, that will go up to 150%. Now some examples on Super Mutant so you know what I'm talking about. And when does it change? It's important to understand how big is the difference. So let's get rid of this doggo. By the way, my perk cards, other than that, I have nothing that would cause damage to fluctuate. So as stable as possible. So I shoot once the Super Mutant in the head, and you can see I end up under M. So that's the health bar. If I now switch to Aristocrat's Gatling gun, so everything the same but Aristocrats, you can see I even hold the stacks. Okay, let me switch for a second more to Furious. I will get 30 stacks, then I switch to Aristocrats. Okay, I'm always losing one stack. So I have 29. They're stealing some stacks somehow. That's a bug, but yeah, this is how it is. So almost the same stacks. If I shoot this Super Mutant now, I'm doing less damage. If I switch again for the Furious, so that was shot with Aristocrats. And of course they're doing damage. Shouldn't be happening. Please don't do any damage as I'm trying here. Okay, trying to show something. So now I shoot this guy to the head after my stacks go up. And now... oh, that was correct. As the previous one took a little bit less damage, and why is that? I noticed from my experience that this damage versus close enemies, so this one, it takes games sometimes a little bit of time to figure out if enemy was close or not. If the game will not figure it out on time, it will count as not close. So now that's the damage per a singular shot. So again, let's hope it counts as close. Yes, so that's consistently again the same damage. Now if I switch again to aristocrats. And the super mutant. And yeah, very little damage here. Very little damage compared to Furious. So that's a huge gap. That's a huge gap in between those two. Now, but what if the gap wouldn't be so big? Let's say we run somewhere at middle stack. So unequipping the master, reducing my stacks, no longer running reversed onslaught. So now, shooting once, twice, I can kill with like 12 stacks. And that's with aristocrats up close, so damage to close enemies triggering. And now if I have like 5 stacks, 6 stacks, I need 3 shots. 1, 2, 3 shots. Again. So anything below 10 stacks with aristocrats is not enough to get 2-shot kill. Now back to this Gatling gun. We try to get some stacks up. And now with Furious 8 stacks. Almost. So you can see that's about the breaking point. So Furious versus aristocrats. Aristocrats will be winning. So aristocrats will be winning if I'm almost at 0 stacks. Less than 8 stacks, aristocrats will be winning. We are going up in stacks, so the Furious effect is going to be more dominant. And we start winning. All other effects of Onslaught will work equally for those both weapons outside of this one bonus until we start pushing above the stack limit. As then, if we go towards the maximum stacks, that's the unique second part effect. More stacks when you have a Furious weapon. So generally, Furious will win. After you have at least those 10 stacks, then Furious is better and will dominate even more. Now, Cremator. So that's special case scenario. So here, Furious is worse. And why is that? Because onslaught effects are applied on hit and calculated per individual hits. The dot is based on the weapon card. The damage for the dot is being drawn in the moment of application, but on hit, impact effects do not count towards the dot, only the solid damage bonuses. And if you notice when I'm equipping that, the damage shows lower than if I switch to aristocrats. Aristocrats shows higher. And that will be the case even if I reverse onslaught. So now you will see I give my weapon full stacks again. So master, you can see now equipping Furious. So stacks in the bottom right corner are going up. Stacks are going up, but the damage, if I take it off on, damage is not moving at all. So it's only calculated for impact. And Furious is no longer like old Furious. Old Furious would change the stats on the card. This one is not. So now if I shoot, this super mutant is burning. And under you, that's where the damage stops. But if I shoot different super mutant with aristocrats, excuse me, I'm trying to just shoot you with explosion, okay. So you can probably already tell the damage is faster. Like this dot is faster, already did more damage than other one. So this is the other one. This one with aristocrats. Aristocrats dot did significantly more damage. So that's the difference. Cremator is no good with Furious. And the same rule will apply to all weapons that do rely on any type of continuous damage, any type of dot, any type of damage over time will not work with Furious. So anything else than Furious is indeed better. Now, what about something like Plasma Caster if you do have Instigating versus Furious? So Instigating with like 1400 damage in here, but if I switch to Furious, you will see a huge difference. As we are getting more stacks, so damage to close enemies and weak spot damage, and everything is going up, and Furious effect is being added. So this is like 1800. Yeah, 1900, 1800, those are the damage you can expect. They, in both cases, they die in a single shot. But Furious dominates. If I switch to Instigating even with full stacks... Okay, then... Okay, it seems like if I switch it with full stacks, it's about the same with Instigating as it is with Furious. So it was about the same. But it could have been just an accident, and the only way to achieve full stacks with Instigating equipped is if I hold the Furious one first, let the stacks go up, and then switch to Instigating. So that's not a realistic scenario. With normal amount of stacks, Instigating, unfortunately, still weaker, and Instigating is a huge bonus. It's 100% bonus. It is still weaker than Furious. So Furious will dominate in that case scenario too. Now, I have a Tesla Cannon. So Tesla Cannon does not have a dot, but Tesla Cannon does have a huge explosion and explosive damage. For Tesla Cannon, we'll switch off the Master. So we switch to a normal Furious, normal Onslaught. And in case of this weapon, especially when there is lots of enemies, it's very effective. As look what will happen with my stacks when I fire once. You see? A bunch of stacks being applied. That's because each enemy being hit by this weapon count for stacks. So quite often in crowded scenario, after just 2 shots, I will have full stacks, and yes, those stacks count towards the damage that I'm doing with the explosion and impact damage, all the damage. All of it is counting, and every enemy that will get hit is increasing my stack count. So not very good with reversed. You would think it's a slow firing weapon, but no, it's not very good with reversed. But very good with regular Onslaught and benefits a lot. All those effects benefit a lot and is winning again. So yes, almost always Furious is the best. Now just to address a scenario with melee weapons. So what if I have melee weapon that is both Furious and have Onslaught from Pounders? So 19 stacks. The only problem here, the melee weapon, you see when I fight, and my stacks stop at 19. They never go higher. The reason for that is all those perks are range weapons only. So those are for guns. All guns, but guns. Does not apply to melee at all. So melee scenario, it's still the best though. It's still the best, and the reason for that, you take those both effects. So how Onslaught works, you take both again. So we have 5% from Furious. We have 10% per stack from Pounders. So we add that up. That's total of 15%. And then maximum stacks are 19. So you multiply it by 19. All the 15. So quick math. 15 multiplied by 19 at full stacks. It's 285% bonus damage when fully stacked for this auto-axe. You can easily probably tell that's the best possible effect you can have on auto-axe or any weapon that attacks super fast. In case of melee weapon, the onslaught, the reverse onslaught could be applied, but extra stacks will not be added. So in case of melee weapons, Gunslinger Master, for some reason, will still apply a reverse onslaught effect, but it will not add any bonus stacks either. Any more questions? Please let me know if you still do have any extra questions. And that being said, this is everything I have for you in this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Thank you a lot for watching, and see you all in the next one.